All right. Good morning, everybody. How are you? I hope you're doing particularly awesome today. We are getting into our lesson 11, which isn't really our 11th time getting together because we had pre-tests and tests along the way. But today we begin lesson number 11, and I begin it with a picture of our new puppy. Well, she's just over 2 years old, but this is our new miniature Australian Shepherd, Ember, and she's just over 2 years old. She had her first litter. Well, she's almost three. She had her first litter at just over 2 years old, and we are going to be mating her to Ducky, our male miniature Australian Shepherd. He's a little bit on the big side. He's not as big as a full size Australian Shepherd, but he's almost as big. He's about 19 and a half inches at the withers. Very good dog, very active dog. Ember is a sweet dog. So we look forward to mating them and having puppies and so on and so forth. So I'm pretty excited about that. You can see in the lower left corner of that picture where it says Rivers Rest Kennel, and that is the name of our kennel. Available on Facebook to check out, though we don't put too many posts up yet. All right, so let's start with the homework answers from the other day. There's really not the opportunity for give and take. If you have a question about any of these, I would suggest that you send me an email or talk to a buddy in the class. So I'll just scroll through this. Feel free to pause the video so that you can see everything in your own time. Okay. I don't know if I did this. Oh, I did do the last page. Okay, good. Okay, we're not going to do much with division, so if you're really struggling with that, don't let it drive you crazy. I'm not going to test you on it at all. But I did want you to see that it is possible to do such work. All right, so that's that. Let's go now to our pregame stretch, which is right here. And you can either get this off of Moodle or you can do stop and start. So I'll leave these first ones up here. Stop the video, pause it, do the questions, and I'm going to go through it rather quickly on my end, knowing that you can pause the video to take as long as you need. Okay. And there. Okay, so now let's go over the answers to these guys. And there they are. Same thing about if you had any difficulties with this. If you did, you might even just be able to see your mistakes as you're going through. Okay, so again, using stop and start, I think you've had time to check over everything. All right, so that's our first little bit of review, but we also have, as usual, some review to do within our slideshow. Now, as always, I do get concerned the presenter view, so I'm hoping that you're able to see the full slide. We are on lesson number 11, as I mentioned before, all about factoring. That's our new topic for today. So, homework review, check. Pre-game stretch, check and review. Next, recent work recap, and that's what we're getting into now. Some more pre-game stretch type of stuff, but bam, as Emerald would say, we are kicking it up a notch. Go ahead. Always stop and start here. Okay, so I distribute the 4, I distribute the -3, I distribute the 2. Combining like terms, 8 n's minus 3 n's minus another 2 n's leaves 3 n's. Negative 21 and negative 28 make negative 49. Subtracting 2 n's, I get n minus 49 is 2. Adding the 49, I get n is 51. Any questions? Well, that's just a force of habit for me to say that, but we're not in a position to normally ask those. Okay, next up, the evolution of the inequalities kind of question. Go ahead, do stop and start, and then I'll go over it with you. It's Sunday right now, about 12:43, and I'm yawning a little bit. I apologize. Okay, so combining like terms, I get negative 8x plus 7 is less than 55. Subtracting the 7, negative 8x is less than 48. Dividing by negative 8. Do not forget, if you multiply or divide an inequality by a negative, you have to switch the direction of the symbol. X is greater than negative 6. Wow. Notice the wording of the question. Determine the smallest integer that makes this true. X is greater than negative 6. So what's the smallest integer that's greater than negative 6? Well, that is better known as negative 5. Okay? All right. We got a little popcorn and drinks problem here. Go ahead. It's probably the last day we'll do. Maybe tomorrow also we'll do the popcorn and drinks. And then after that, we won't do it anymore. Okay. So 2 popcorns and 3 drinks is 16 bucks. 4 popcorns and 2 drinks is 26 bucks. Now we just solve. I'm going to choose to eliminate the p's because I notice if I just double the top row and of course use the negative, it matches the bottom. So doubling the top, I get negative 4p minus 60 is negative 32. The bottom stays the same. Adding them up, I get negative 4d is negative 6. Dividing by negative 4, and I get the cost of a drink is $1.50. Okay, now we can use either equation to go back and get the cost of popcorn. I'll use the top one. Original equations always, not a derived equation. So 2p plus 3 times the $1.50 that the drink costs is 16 bucks. Minus the 450. 2p is 11.50, and that gives me 5.75. Okay. All right. So there's a nice little simultaneous solution type of question, word problem built on out. Next up, go ahead. So we did this the other day, a couple of times now, where you realize that you can subtract the 2y and use the elimination, and that is what we'll use here. But this one's also pretty neat in the sense that you could divide the top equation by 2, everything, and then subtract, when 8's divided by 2, it'll be 4, and then you'll get y equals. And then you could have used substitution. So here's subtracting the 2y. So now I have the x's, the y's, the equals the 8. And that lines up perfectly over x's, y's equals and 32. Now I just multiply the top by 7, the bottom by 2, right? Because we're looking to eliminate these y's. Distributing the 7, distributing the 2. Notice I have negative 14y and positive 14y, which adds up to no y's, which is really sweet because I get 40x's is 120, and that means that x is 3. Using either equation to figure out y, I'm going to use the bottom one. 6 times 3 is 18. Subtracting it, 7y is 14, y is 2. So x is 3, y is 2. Okay, so again, we had a couple of different ways we could have went with this, but both ways work beautifully. All right, let's simplify each of these. You should do all 6 of them because you know how to do all of them, and then I'll give you the answers to all 6. Okay, so for the first one, we have R's, S's, and T's in this problem, and if we combine all of our R's together, we have 19 R's, right? 12, 11, and negative 4 R's. And then for S's, we have 5 S's and 9 S's, which makes 14 S's. And we have a lonely negative 7t sitting there. Next up that I did was number 4. Distributing the negative 6, I get negative 18y plus 42. Altogether, that's negative 10y's plus 42. Or you could also write it as 42 minus 10y. Now, we typically like to have the variables first. But, for some reason, you may say, well, I prefer to lead off with a positive. And if that's the case, you just have to make sure when you switch the order, this 10y is negative here. So I have to have it negative when I switch the order. And the 42 is positive, so I have to keep it positive when I switch the order. If you do that, you're fine, and both answers are correct. And it's pretty cool to be able to analyze it from both perspectives, because then you are able to answer in multiple choice, whichever way the person gives it to you. I'd also like to get a little life lesson kind of thing here. I just had a discussion with a friend from Pennsylvania on Facebook, and he had put up a post that really bashed one wing of the political spectrum, either the left or the right. I'd rather not tell you which one. And I wrote to him that I thought it was a really bad thing to put up, because what it did was it looked at it from only one point of view, and the author of the piece that he put up never bothered to consider how the other point of view may have come to different conclusions. And I think that's one of the things that divides people. And I think that as a people, we should try to understand where another person's coming from. If they disagree with us and we can understand where they're coming from, maybe we're making a mistake. And if not, it'll allow us to better understand why we feel the way we do and come to a better conclusion. And to me, that's one of the really beautiful things about math. It's kind of life metaphorical, in the sense that what it does is it allows you to look at things differently, no matter which order you might see them, or whatever you like to do first, or your predilections. And whether you're liberal or conservative or Democrat or Republican, you're able to work this out, that the answer is what the answer is, and both sides can see that. And to me, that's one of the biggest problems in our nation today is the fighting and the meanness that you see on the political front is very disrespectful. And there's no attempt to understand from the other point of view. And I'm really thankful that I was taught by teachers and raised by parents who allowed you to have your say and appreciated where you were coming from, and taught to appreciate the other side's point of view. So whether you're talking about religion or politics or any of the other sensitive subjects that are out there, I think we do need to be able to converse in these topics. I don't think that one side or the other can be disrespectful to the other side. I think that's intolerant, to be honest with you, with the words. Okay, so now I'm going to step off my soapbox and we'll continue with the math. Number 2, we're going to distribute the negative 4, and I get negative 20a plus 12b. For number 5, I distribute the 2, and that'll give me 2z plus 6, right? Distributing the 2 there. And then the 3 would give me 15 minus 9z. And then combining like terms, 2z's and negative 9z's make negative 7z's, and 6 and 5 make 21. Now, again, like I did in the previous problem, maybe you don't want to express the answer that way. Maybe you like to lead off with a positive. If that's the case, it's no problem. The 21's positive here in the first answer that I wrote, so keep the 21 positive in the second. And the negative 7z is negative, obviously, kind of redundant there, in the first answer I wrote, so keep it negative in the second. So you could switch the order, that's the commutative property. Just make sure that what's positive stays positive and what's negative stays negative. Okay, number 3, distributing the 5. That's 35 plus 21x minus 12. Now I could combine like terms with the numbers, and 35 and negative 12 make 23. So 21x plus 23. On the next one, it's kind of a little sneaky here, and this shows kind of the importance of, in mathematics, that standard polynomial form, because we always we see it so often, we're expecting to see the highest exponent first, and they kind of hide the highest exponent in the middle here, and you had to catch on to that. So when I started doing this problem, I'm like, okay, I got 8x squareds, and I'm sliding through looking for more x squareds, and I go, wait a minute, I got 4x cubes. I got to go back to the beginning and start again. So it's 4x cubes. So normally we don't write like that. And if you want to know why, that's a good example of why. Then I have 8x squareds and negative 3x squareds, which make 5x squareds. Then I have negative 7x's and positive 9x's, which is 2x's. And then I have a negative 2 and a negative 4, which makes for negative 6. So if you can do this particular screen, I think you're in good shape with the basics of polynomials. And then if you can apply that to this screen, which has more word problems in it, all the better. So try these 3 questions, and I'll go over the answers with you in just a minute. Okay, so Molly has so many dollars, Ron has so many dollars. How much money do they have altogether? Just add them up. So 4x plus 10 plus 20 minus 5x, getting my x's together, that's negative x. Getting my numbers together, that's 30. How much more money does Molly have than Ron? So that would be Molly take away Ron. So the 4x plus 10 minus the 20 minus 5x. But please remember to put, you're taking away the whole of what Ron has. So you have to keep it in a grouping symbol. Distributing that negative, I get negative 20 plus 5x. And if I combine like terms there, 4x's and 5x's make 9x's, and 10 and negative 20 make negative 10. It dawned on me that to an outsider looking in, they might have said, hey, he didn't give him much time to do that question. But I am trusting in the fact that you always remember to do stop and start. So you see the screen, you stop it, you do the work, you start it. This way, I'm not sitting here with a bunch of dead space as I'm recording this video. Okay, Ross has 8x minus 5 tickets for Chuck E. Cheese. He's going to play today, and he wants to buy a prize that costs 15x plus 1 tickets. How many tickets does he have to win? So, you know, sometimes with these polynomials, it could be confusing. Let's make it simple. Ross has 5 tickets. He's got to get something that costs 9 tickets. How many more tickets does he need? He needs 4 tickets. How do you do that? You do the 9 minus 5. So here, it means we're going to do the cost of the prize minus Ross's tickets. So 15x plus 1, the cost of the prize, minus Ross's tickets. Of course, it's the whole of it, so we make sure it's in grouping symbols. Distributing that negative sign, I get negative x plus 5. 15x minus 8x is 7x, and 1 and 5 make 6. So he needs 7x plus 6. Next up, a little multiplying polynomials, specifically binomials in this case. I have the first example on the board for you. X times x is x squared. X times negative 1 is negative x. Those are the red hoops up here. The green hoops would be negative 7 times x is negative 7x, and negative 7 times negative 1 is positive 7. You can always group what's in the middle. Negative x and negative 7x makes negative 8x. So altogether, I get x squared minus 8x plus 7. Just do number 2. Okay, so 3x times 2x is 6x squared. 3x times negative 8 is negative 24x. 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times negative 8 is negative 40. I can group the terms in the middle, and that's negative 14x in the middle. Okay, now for number 3, it's a little tricky. It says x minus 4y, in parentheses, squared. And some students will have a tendency to think that the answer is x squared plus 16y squared, and that would be wrong. The reason it's wrong is because to square something means to multiply itself by itself. So the first thing you need to do is, or a way to do this, is to understand that we're going to rewrite it as x minus 4y times x minus 4y. That is multiplying x minus 4y by itself. Okay, go ahead, do your double distribute from here, and we'll come up with the correct answer. Okay, so x times x is x squared. X times negative 4y is negative 4xy. Negative 4y times x is negative 4xy. Now, you might have been tempted to write negative 4yx, which it does equal. But again, we want to keep things organized. So use alphabetical order all the time with these things. That's why I write 4xy and 4xy, and then you can see easily that they're grouped together. And then negative 4y times negative 4y is 16y squared. In the middle, I get negative 8xy's. Okay, and try number 4. So 2x times negative 7x is negative 14x squared. 2x times negative 3y is negative 6xy. 8y times negative 7x is negative 56xy. Same thing with the order of the x's and y's I mentioned before. And 8y times negative 3y is negative 24y squared. I will always be able to add those terms in the middle or combine them. So I get negative 14x squared minus 62xy minus 24y squared. Okay? So again, the beauty of watching the video is you can always go back and look it over. If you have any lingering questions, email me, talk to a buddy. We could always do office hours too. Always remember, if you're going to do office hours, you need to email me in advance so I can send you an invite. Okay, now we're going to do distribute across a trinomial. Go ahead. Okay, so first I distribute the x, and I get x times x squared is x cubed, x times negative 11x is negative 11x squared, x times negative 3 is negative 3x. 9 times x squared is 9x squared, 9 times negative 11 is negative 99x, and 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. Combining like terms, I have my 1x cubed terms, I have negative 11x squared and positive 9x squared, which is negative 2x squared, and I have no idea why I wrote negative 4x squared. So I'm actually going to escape this. Well, I can't. You know what? It just won't let me do it. So this should be x cubed minus 2x squared, okay? Because negative 11 and positive 9 make negative 2. So x cubed minus 2x squared, and then minus 102x minus 27. Okay, that makes it for the first video recorded for today as my dog comes in the room. And I will get into the second video in a little while.